Welcome to Roots and Branches of Lehi, the podcast where we get to know the faces, stories, and lives that make up our community. I'm Ryan Harding, and I started this podcast as a way for us all to connect with the people we live alongside. Growing up in a small town, I learned that connections go beyond blood. They're built through shared experiences, friendships, and the moments we celebrate together. Each week, we'll sit down with someone new from Lehi to share their unique story, their passions, and what they love most about living here. So whether you've been here for years or just arrived, join us as we deepen our roots and reach out to our branches one story at a time. Welcome, Becky White, to Roots and Branches of Lehi. Excited to have you on the podcast here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that a lot.
This is going to be fun. So we'll get to know you a little bit. So let's start with kind of your roots and stuff like that. So from Lehi?
Always.
Always. Okay. Long time Lehi. Okay.
Long time. So, I've lived here my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Back in the day when it was small and, much little more farming community kind of thing?
Yeah, I graduated in 85.
Okay.
So I think the population was close to 9,000 people. I don't know for sure.
Sure.
I know we didn't have a stoplight.
Okay.
So we could cruise Maine.
Yeah. All
the way Lehi, Maine, turn around at Western Tack and Togs, all the way to American Fork, turn around and come back, and would do that for hours. No stop signs and very few cops.
Just wow, yeah, very different back then.
Yeah.
And what brought your family to Lehi? Like generationally?
Generationally, yeah. Okay. My mom and dad are both from here.
Okay.
My dad grew up on a farm over on 5th West. My mom grew up by Wines Park. Okay. Yeah, we are longtime Lehi residents.
Yeah.
Deep roots here.
Yeah. Pioneers from long time ago. Then.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me what your parents did for work and stuff like that. What
you had my mom on. My mom is Donna Barnes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, There we go. Okay.
Yeah. My dad was a school teacher. My mom was a school teacher.
Okay.
So I grew up with education.
Yeah.
Ingrained in me. I think it's part of my DNA.
Yes.
And when I was little, I remember playing school, and I would grab my mom's recipe book because it looked like a roll book.
Yeah.
And I would put my doll in my dad's cowboy boots so that they were sitting up, and that was the direction I wanted to go from a young age.
Was in education, stuff like that. What? Tell me your path, I guess, as far as.
I went to UVU first.
Okay.
At that point, it was Utah Technical College.
Yeah.
And then went there 2 years, and then transferred to BYU, got my education degree from BYU.
Okay.
And then fortunately, right out of college, this job at Lehi High School became available, and my old principal is the one who called me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was replacing my favorite teacher.
Oh, really?
So
wow.
It was Kim Jorgensen is who I was replacing. She was the reason I went into business education because she was short, like I am, and spunky and funny, and I loved her. And so that's why I went into business education.
Okay.
And then she transferred to American Fork, and I took her job.
Okay.
And probably the scariest day of my life was walking in to the faculty room and seeing my teachers sitting there.
Yeah.
And most notably, Lloyd Jacobson, Kent Day. I can't remember Mr. Pierce's first name, but I remember thinking, I can't go in there. And they saw me and said, hey, come on in. You're on our side now.
You're one of us now.
Yeah, you're one of us now. But yeah, it was great. I loved my time as a student at Lehi High School.
Yeah.
I was very involved I played sports. I was a member of student council.
Okay.
So loved Lehi and was very fortunate to be able to start teaching there.
Yeah, I was going to say most people probably don't get that benefit of where, hey, I actually went to high school here and now I'm coming back to that same place.
Yeah.
That's probably not, because spots fill up, right?
Yep.
There's only so many spots to teach, and so you got to go.
And I actually started in October, at the beginning of the school year.
Had already started, okay.
Yeah, there weren't any jobs available, and so one came up in October, and that was just such a blessing for me. It really projected me onto my path for the rest of my career.
And so did you stay at Lehi High then your whole career?
27 years.
Okay,
27 years I stayed at Lehi High.
Wow.
And then they built Sky Ridge. And they hired my son as the softball coach at Sky Ridge.
Okay.
And so I transferred up there for my last 3 years.
Okay. Just to be near him? Was that part of the motivation?
It was kind of to be able to teach with him. That was part of it.
Yeah.
And then just a new scenery.
Sure. Yeah, so 27, that's a long time already. Yeah. You can't say you're not loyal to Lehi High, right?
Yeah. So, no, Lehi High will always have my heart.
Sure.
But it was fun to go up there and open a new school.
Of course. Yeah. In fact, let's pivot to that a little bit. What was it like to open up a new school? Something like the benefit of a Lehi High is you have this rich tradition, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people think, like, with a new school, hey, it's all new, it's brand new, this is great, fun. Yeah. I think it takes a little time to create some of those things that you just take for granted at a school like Lehi High. Is that right?
100%. When I walked out of Lehi High School on the last day of school in 2016, I sobbed in the parking lot. And I thought, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But my last child had graduated that same year, and then it was fun. This brand new school, I got to choose my room, I got to have a school store, which I had always wanted.
Sure.
And then I tucked away all my Lehi shirts and gear and got out my orange, which I look horrible in, but
not many people could pull off orange. Let's be honest.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
But it was still fun. Lots of energy. And a lot of my teacher friends from Lehi also transferred up there. So I had a support group.
Okay.
But I remember going to the first pep assembly, and they sang this school song, and it wasn't my school song.
Yeah.
And I literally had tears. I'm like, this is not my school song.
Yeah.
And so that loyalty and those feelings, they don't just happen immediately.
Of course.
Yeah. But then when you go to their games and you see your students succeed, then it comes.
Yeah.
I tell people I loved Skyridge, but I'm always a pioneer.
Sure. Again, you spent so much time there and stuff.
Yeah.
So was it hard to get... Obviously, classes, you're teaching the same subject.
Yep.
But different clubs, different things. I don't know how much you're part of that, but is that hard to get going, or did that kind of happen fairly?
A lot of the kids that I had taught at Lehi were going to then go to Skyridge. So I knew a large group of them.
Okay.
So that wasn't too hard for me, but it was... I left my financial secretary, who was my best friend and who covered me and helped me, and that was hard. And the people who were there who stayed, I missed that immediately, because then you have to develop all those new relationships again.
Sure.
And there were some people that thought I had jumped ship and was being a traitor.
Sure, you betrayed us.
I know. But so it was like starting over.
Yeah.
And new schools do things differently, and it wasn't an easy transition for sure.
But happy you did it.
Happy I did. Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
I got to know a lot of people. I increased my circle of friends, and it was fun.
Okay. So let's go back now a little bit. So you mentioned, what you taught was business education?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
Did you always know you wanted to do business education, or what brought you into that
After
field?
taking classes from Mrs. Jorgensen, and because she always made me feel like I was good at it. And back then it was like shorthand. Remember, I don't mean, I would say that now and people go, what is that?
I only know because my mom was really good at it. But yes.
I still will write little encrypted messages on things in shorthand, and nobody knows what it is. But she made me feel like this was something that I was going to be good at. And she even came to me and my school counselor and said, hey, why don't you try out for Business Sterling Scholar, which I would have never thought to do had they not coaxed me, and they helped me. And so I was able to even represent Lehi as the Business Sterling Scholar.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I just knew that I loved it. It was fun. It was a skill that I thought people needed to have. And anyway, so that was one of the reasons.
Oh, that's awesome. Talk to me. So for the audience that doesn't know, what goes into business education? What things do you cover?
So I taught, for the most part, I taught business communications, which is like a business English. It is learning how to draft letters, correspondence, all that kind of stuff, which I think is super important.
Yeah.
And I taught marketing.
Okay.
I love teaching marketing because I would tell my students, hey, you already know a ton of this.
Yeah.
You're consumers.
Yes.
You make decisions. You watch advertising. Yeah. And then I taught sports marketing, which was my all-time favorite. Yeah. And then I taught a concurrent enrollment class through UVU, leadership principles.
Okay.
Which I loved that too. So, but my sports marketing was my baby.
Yeah. Tell me why you like sports marketing. What was that?
I think it was 1996. I went to a conference up in Salt Lake, and they had flown in a guy. His name was Jeff McCauley from Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And he had started a sports marketing program there. And he talked about all the fun things they did.
Yeah.
And I just came away from that going, I want to do this. And so I approached my administration. They were supportive. And so they allowed me to have that class, which was nice because then I could take my regular marketing kids as a junior, and then I could transfer those over to sports marketing. And I was able, they had to apply for the class. So I was able to choose 20 to 25 of the students that I thought would be best in there. So it was the most fun group of kids, outgoing, energetic. They wanted to contribute to the school. And then that year, there was no curriculum, basically. So I was on my own to create the curriculum. And it was a year-long class, and I'm like, I don't have enough curriculum to keep these kids busy. So we were talking in class, and one of my students, who also grew up a couple houses down from me, family friend, his name's Lee Adamson. He's a big Lehi guy. And so I blame all of this on him.
On him? Okay, good.
But I said, you guys, what are we going to do to make this more exciting? And Lee says, why don't we get the Jazz Bear to come to a basketball game?
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I'll make a phone call. So I left class right in the middle, and I called the Utah Jazz because there were a couple people that I went to school with that worked for the Jazz.
Yeah.
And they connected me to the right people, and I came back and I said, okay, you guys, we need to raise this amount of money because I've just committed. And from then, that relationship grew. We had the Jazz Bear come to our basketball game every year for a long period of time. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
And my husband is a big sports talk radio guy. So he would listen to that, and then he'd come home and go, hey, you need to talk about this in your sports marketing class and do this as a case study. And my students thought I was so into sports.
Yeah.
But basically, I was just parroting what my husband was saying.
Sure.
And they just loved it because it was something they could relate to, something they enjoyed. And then, so we had the Jazz Bear come, but I never knew who it was at that point. They snuck him in, and I never really knew. I had some inklings, but I never really knew.
Sure.
And then in 2004, the Jazz Bear assistant, who I worked with closely, he called me. He says, we want to come to your sports marketing class and present an idea to you. So they came, and his name was Luke Larson, and he came and with this other guy. And I'm like, I know, I've seen you before, and you walk just like the Jazz Bear walks. So he finally admitted, yeah, I'm the Jazz Bear.
Yeah.
That was John Absey, who sadly passed away 3 days ago.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about that more because he deserves some time on this. And then another gentleman, his name was Eldon Farnsworth, and they were part of a group called Firemen and Friends for Kids, and Eldon was the fireman.
Okay. And
they wanted to raise money, and they had this idea of what would then become the Mascot Bowl, where you have all these mascots playing against these 8th grade, these junior high kids to raise money.
Yeah.
So that's where that grew from. And then we did that from 2004 to the year I retired in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was, I think the first year we had it, we had maybe 1,000 people. Okay. And then at Sky Ridge, which was our last year, that was one of the motivations for going to Sky Ridge too, is their big stadium. Because at Lehi, we couldn't fit everybody who came.
Yeah.
And so I think probably at Sky Ridge, we would get between 4,000 and 5,000 people to come.
Wow.
Yeah. And we would raise enough money to take between 150 and 175 kids shopping and give them $100 each.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
All from the Mascot Bowl.
From the Mascot Bowl.
Yeah.
So all charity, essentially.
All charity. Yep. And we would get sponsored. That's where the cool part of that sports marketing program was. They had to go out and sell sponsorships.
Okay.
So that we could then pay to have all of the amenities come for the Mascot Bowl, and then all of the proceeds would then go to the charity. And so they got a real world experience of go talk to a business, see if they want to be involved. We would give them signage. We would give them special sponsorship packages. And so they were able to experience that firsthand.
Yeah. So you were making money off the sponsorships and then also the ticket sales and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you raised that much money. And this was how long did that last then?
I did it 15 years.
Okay. Is it still going on?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. When I retired, they actually wanted to see if somebody would continue that.
Yeah.
But I told them, you can't expect that. It's too much work.
Sure.
I did it because I wanted my own children, who were in my sports marketing program, to experience that.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of work and a lot of stress. And,
sure.
There were certain things that were really stressful about it, like the weather, whether it was going to get rained out or be cold. Or some years it was so hot. We always had it like the second or third Monday in September. A couple of years it was so hot that mascots were getting sick because of playing outside in their suits. And the relationship that I had with the Jazz Bear was something that was unique.
Sure. So left with you then, just because a lot of work for somebody else to take on. They
actually, I think for 2 or 3 years, John Absey lived in Harriman High School boundaries. And so he took it up there and did a version of it there just without me. Okay.
And so your relationship with them, you said that really helped, because obviously it's a lot of work for you to put it on. Also, though, for all these people to participate too. Yeah. And none of them were getting paid for this.
None of them were getting paid. No. We would pay airfare for some of the high-profile mascots to come. Okay. But the college mascots, they would donate their time, and we would have entertainment. The jazz dancers would come. We had
really a big event.
Yeah. So we would have Charlie Jenkins Band would do a halftime performance. So we wanted it to model a little bit after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, sure.
But we had some really fun halftime acts, quarter break acts that would come, and they would generally do it for free.
Wow.
But that was because they had a relationship with the Utah Jazz or the Jazz Bear too.
Okay.
So it was amazing the relationships he had established, and he was such a generous person that they would do anything for him.
Sure.
And we would have celebrity coaches. We had Jerry Sloan, we had Rulon Gardner, Derek Parra, Jeff Hornacek, Thurl Bailey, Sean Bradley, Frank Layden.
Wow.
My students got to meet some incredible people.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got to meet them too. I was starstruck too.
Sure. Yeah.
One of my favorite memories was Jerry Sloan's wife dropped him off a little bit. So I got to sit there and just chat with him for a minute. Sure. It's a surreal experience. Yeah. Like I'm sitting by a legend here. Yeah.
Wow. And he's gone now.
He's gone, yeah.
So talk to me, and I forget his name now. You said the Jazz Bear.
John Absey is his name.
Okay. And so you said passed away just barely then.
Just barely, 3 days ago of pancreatic cancer. He was the original Jazz Bear. I think his last year was 2018. And so there's a different person in the Jazz Bear suit now, but he was the original one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you, so you just met him just by a phone call?
Just a phone call.
You just got lucky, I guess, with that.
People would ask me, how do you know him? I said, I don't. I just called.
Yeah.
I just had the courage to call.
Sure. And then to your point, he's just a very generous guy. It sounds like that he was willing to, hey, I want to help. I want to do this. Yeah. This is something I like. And then he has his network of people, and they're going to say yes to really whatever he says, I guess. So
we would have summer meetings because it had to be all planned by September.
Yeah.
And one of our summer meetings we were planning, and my students were all there, and they said, could we get Carl Malone? And John says, I don't know, let me call him.
And so you just called?
Yeah, his contact list was just A-listers.
You're like, can I have your phone? I would love to have your phone.
Yeah, but we never were able to get Carl Malone, but he had connections with some really fun people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's quite the event. Anything else what was it like putting that on? Did you have a lot of student help as far as doing that?
Yep, my students basically did it all.
Okay,
we assigned them teams. Some were advertising, some were pregame, some were game operations, some were ancillary, which was all the food trucks that would come in and all the things that were going on before the game. And they did it all the night of the Mascot Bowl. I was just the person on the headset making sure that everything ran smoothly. But I would tell them, don't ask me a dumb question. So you figure it out.
Sure. Yeah.
Problem solve.
Yeah.
Look around the corner and see what you can figure out on your own.
So this was probably really good for them as far as, like, you're talking hands-on learning here. Because this was students, so the people that were taking the sports marketing class were the ones helping.
Yep.
And so was this kind of like the project, that you get a grade for this too and stuff like that? Because they all had to have a role and do it. Okay.
Yeah.
But then they were actually able to get this hands-on learning of what real business is like
And they would see when things went well, and they would see when things didn't, and you had to call some audibles really quickly. And I think if most of the people who were there as patrons knew what it was like behind the scenes, I think to them it looked like it all
just
went
ran
off
smoothly.
pretty smoothly. But I had one of my students,
which is a testament to how good you were doing this, right?
I don't know, but it really is how the caliber of my students I got to have. But I had one student who just dripping sweat. He was just running from here to there, and like it was just. And these kids you develop a little bit different relationship with.
Oh, of course, because you're rubbing shoulders with them, right? You're out there in the field, the stadium, literally in this case, working and trying to do those things and stuff. So that's awesome. Why? So. Did you see students? Did you follow students? So you did it for 15 years, you said. So did any students be like, "Hey, I want to go into this"? And did you see their paths?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had students go on and work in game operations for Utah State, BYU, and one of my students was hired in their sports marketing program in game operations, and so I've had probably a dozen, maybe not that many, maybe 6 to 8 kids that went into that.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
That is fun. And I'm sure even the rest that, obviously you had lots of students and stuff like that, again, still applicable to really a lot of different fields.
Yeah.
Just being there and being able to see how things run and stuff like that. Because why do you think that was successful, I guess? Because I think it was. But then is that something that's maybe lacking sometimes in public education, doing more of those things? Or is it? Or maybe more of that is happening than
I think I saw a lot of that happening, really, where teachers that I worked with, they were trying to do something a little outside of the box to give their kids something more. Okay. I've watched the Chinese New Year that's it was at Lehi and up at Sky Ridge. Like, I'm always just in awe of my fellow educators did and do.
Yeah.
So I think that gives you a boost, and so the kids enjoy it more. Yeah. I go to some of the plays that the schools put on, and I'm blown away.
Sure.
I thought my job was stressful, but whoa, not to the caliber of this.
Yeah.
So I think that most teachers are doing a lot to try and give their students the best experience possible.
And doing that kind of hands-on where you're actually applying some of the principles that you're learning in school. Which, again, I think is great, because the more, I think most things in life are just experience that you need to have. And so the more opportunities you can give a child experience, then it's not so anxiety driven where they're scared to do it because it's I don't know, this is new to me, and it's no, hey, it's not that hard, let me hold your hand, let me kind of get you in here and realize, oh, I can actually do this. This isn't as hard as I thought.
When we would have a little meeting after the Mascot Bowl to just slap shoulder and say good job, you could tell they were all very happy and satisfied. Oh my gosh, we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Look at all the people who came. Look how much fun they were having. Yeah. We did it.
Well, and I think that's, so again, whether they go into sports marketing or not, just having that pat on the back or that success under their belt. I think that most of us participate in sports or music or plays, and none of us go on to be sports musicians or actors and stuff. I mean, but it's these little successes that then launch us into whatever field we go into, right? So yours is just, again, one of those places that they're able to do that in.
Yeah, and I would have never thought. I would tell Lee Adams would always come to the Mascot Bowl, and he'd come and with his family and sit his blanket down, and I would curse him like, "Look what you started."
This is your fault.
Because I don't know if I would have thought of that on my own. Anyway, a lot of the credit for the Mascot Bowl and its success goes to other people.
Sure.
And my administrators who were supportive, because I know looking back they had to turn a blind eye and go, okay, I guess we'll let you do that.
Sure.
But they were always very supportive, because in the long run, even though I probably broke a few rules, they knew it was for a good cause.
Sure. We won't make you confess any of those broken rules on air here.
Always after the fact.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Any other stories from that time? Any other things that you'd want to...
With the Mascot, some of the things that stick out to me are when Rulon Gardner allowed my students to put his gold medal around their neck. That was fun to see that experience. We had Mark Eaton come to my class and talk. And I remember them calling me down and saying, hey, your guest speaker is here. And I went down and walked him back to my classroom. And you should have seen the kids looking at him, because Mark Eaton's 7'4".
Yeah.
And they would, like, who is this guy? And he said, I know, I'm just a walking circus act. So I think a lot of that is what they remember. I got to take a group up of my sports marketing up to the Salt Flats and film a commercial with the Jazz Bear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they were all he had brought just costumes for my students to wear. And a lot of my students were cheerleaders, and I remember them doing a cheer in these odd, crazy costumes. And people, because you could see us from the road, and you could see people were like, what are they doing?
Yeah, yeah.
We set a Guinness World Record.
Wow.
We had, the Jazz Bear was up in a helicopter, and he dropped a football down, and it was the longest football drop that was caught by a guy named Aaron LeSueur, who was a famous Utah athlete.
Yeah.
I think it's since been broken, but at least we got it for a little while. Got it for a little while.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, lots of fun things.
Wow.
Another thing that now just comes to my mind is 2013. It's when they had the Granite Mountain fire in Arizona, and those 19 firefighters were killed. Do you remember?
I do.
Yeah. And because we earn money on behalf of Firemen and Friends for Kids, we were thinking about maybe honoring them in some way. And I was talking to Rick Howard, because Rick Howard was my connection at the fire department. He was also married to my cousin.
Okay.
And I presented him with this idea, like, do you think, would you know how to get in touch? And so he did. He was able to call their fire department, and we flew one of the wives and her friends out here to our Mascot Bowl.
Okay.
And honored them. Rick was there. The fire department was there in their formal uniforms. There was a bell that they rung, and it was just really one of those moments that you'll never forget.
Yeah.
And I was able to stay in touch with her for years after that.
Yeah.
Because she lost her husband. I think she had, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 kids at the time. And so anyway, that was probably one of the highlights too of the Mascot Bowl for me.
And so your connection with the firemen and doing what Friends for what?
It was Firemen and Friends for Kids.
Firemen. Okay, so that was in conjunction with the Mascot Bowl, or was that a separate entity thing that you'd get?
That was a 501c3 that we sent the money to.
Okay.
That then we would use that money to take the kids shopping.
Okay, so that was that group. Okay,
Yep.
I didn't catch that earlier.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that makes more sense. Okay, wow, yeah. I love your connection with business, because I enjoy business myself, and with education. I think you've done a lot of good there, and obviously you should be very proud of your 30 years essentially then, right?
You.
Doing that
30
and stuff.
years.
30 years, because 27 at Lehi, right?
And then my last 3 at Skyridge, yep.
Yeah. And so then you have a child that teaches too and stuff. So has your love of education spread to children, or talk to me about that?
I'm telling you, it's a genetic.
Okay.
It's a DNA. So I have a son. I have 4 kids. Mm-hmm. My oldest is a boy, and then I have 3 daughters. Mm-hmm. Oh, the fun thing is, and what I'm very proud of, is my son is a teacher at Lehi High School, and at a coach. My oldest daughter taught at Lehi High School until she decided to stay home and raise her family.
Sure.
My second daughter, so my third child, teaches at Skyridge High School.
Yeah.
And then my youngest daughter is an NP, a nurse practitioner. So she broke the mold.
She broke the mold. Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
Still a service, right?
Still a service. That's that's in my dad's family. They were all lawyers, judges, stuff like that. He went the doctor route, kind of thing. And hey, break the mold. That's okay.
Yeah.
So why do you think your family does love education? And I would add with nurse service, that service-oriented businesses and stuff. Why is that? You say DNA, but there's probably more to that as far as just did they see mom?
Yeah,
yeah, exactly, right.
Summers. I don't know. No, I really do think that there's nothing. I guess there is something. I just haven't experienced it.
Sure.
But about ending your day having a good encounter with a student, or knowing that you made a difference a little bit that day. And it's not, if you build a house, you can step back and go, that is a beautiful, look at my handiwork.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
As an educator, you can never take a step back and go, look how smart I made these kids.
Sure.
But you can get a lot of self-satisfaction out of having a conversation with a student after seeing them get excited because they did well on a test, or that you just had fun in that class while you're teaching. So I don't know. I told him, I said, maybe I made it look too easy. I don't know, but I absolutely loved every day of teaching.
Yeah.
There were things I didn't like a lot, but for the most part, I loved everything. I loved the people I worked with. I loved interacting with kids, especially high school students. They're just fun.
Yeah.
And kids going through a lot of hard things, and sometimes it doesn't take a whole lot other than here's a little candy bar.
Sure.
Just
to pick me up, just to say, hey, keep on the path.
Yeah.
Keep going. You're doing better than you think.
Yeah.
Which we all need that at times in our lives, right?
Yeah. Even as adults, right?
Even as adults.
Yeah.
No, we do. I think that's one of the hard parts about life is just, and that's why we maybe minimize that the importance of that pat on the back or that candy bar, but really it's those moments that keep you on the path.
Yeah.
So that you can progress and become who you're supposed to become and stuff.
Yeah.
So obviously you've been in education for a long time. Are there areas that you see that we could improve on? Obviously, you still have children in education, teaching and stuff like that. Are there things that, hey, if I was in charge for the day, I would like to see this or that happen?
Oh, gosh. That's why I don't do politics or policy. I don't know. That one is a hard one for me to figure out because I haven't been in education now. I retired in 2019.
Okay.
So right before the pandemic.
Sure.
So I think the pandemic was really hard.
Yeah.
And I think that set things back.
Sure.
And I think student behavior has become, from what my kids tell me,
sure. Yeah.
is more of a problem than what it was when I was a teacher, and most definitely when I was a student.
Okay.
Because when I was a student, you feared
Sure.
some of those teachers. You
Sure.
know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I think the respect for teachers, making in it, I think a lot of it comes from the dinner table talk. And if parents were talking positively about teachers and, hey, because when I was growing up, if there was an issue with me in the classroom, it was me.
Sure. Not the teacher's fault. Yeah, sure.
And I'm not sure if sometimes that gets flipped.
Where my kid's always right and the teacher must be wrong.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and I know there are personality challenges with teachers and some kids. That's real. But I just think that if maybe there was a little bit more respect for teachers and what they did, because I promise you that the teachers that I know, and me personally, I went into education because I wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And I had teachers that I loved, I wanted to emulate. And I had coaches in high school that were such a big part of my life. So I know that all those teachers are there because of their desire to make an impact on kids.
Yeah, yeah. And why do you think the pandemic, behavioral, is that just the pivot point where things started to change, or with behavioral issues and stuff like that? Did that have something to do with it?
I don't have a firsthand look at that because I wasn't in the classroom, but I think it minimized the importance of education.
Okay.
And that you could still be educated at home.
Sure.
Or, I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but just the importance of being in class with in-class instruction, help from a teacher. I don't know. I think it created a feeling of if I can graduate without going to school, then really how important is learning process?
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure. Which, at the same time, I think that's where we noticed, hey, no, actually, I kind of like being around people. I like going to different things. And so
the social aspect of it, it's huge.
Yeah, and I know you teach business, so even with the work from home, a lot of people try to work from home. And there's some, I think, that can do very well with that. There's others that I think they just had a little vacation time kind of thing. And maybe that's what I guess COVID did, is shake things up a little bit. So it's like, all right, is this the best way to do it? Is this the best way? How can we fix things, I guess, in general? I know people are more coming back to the office now in general because it's, hey, as a rule, most of you can't work from home. You're not doing it good. But again, I think there are some that are highly motivated and disciplined and stuff to do that. But
same. And there's students who are highly motivated and they can go home and they can do their work and not need as much face-to-face time with the teacher.
Sure.
But for the most part, 18-year-olds on down, they need that structure and the atmosphere.
Yeah, just being together, other students learning, you feed off each other.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Anything else from your time as teaching that we didn't cover that you want to talk about?
We could talk about my Bear Hugs for Kids shopping.
Let's go.
So That is something that I'm still doing.
Okay.
So even after retirement, COVID shut us down for a couple years. That's where we take the money from the Mascot Bowl.
Okay.
And then I would tell the people at the district office how many students that we could take. So if we earned $15,000 from Mascot Bowl, we'd take 150 and give them each $100. And they would send an email out to the elementary schools and say, this is what's happening. Choose some of your students who could use some extra help for Christmas.
Yeah.
Or just use a boost, something to look forward to, and then they would submit those names to the district. The district would then they would donate buses.
Okay.
The bus drivers donate their time, and they pick them up at their schools and bring them to the high school. And Costa Vida donated food. We would feed them breakfast, do a little program, and then take them to Walmart. And the high school kids would sign up as their shopping buddies.
Okay.
And if we had 150 kids, we needed 300 shopping buddies because it had to be a 2-to-1 situation.
Sure. Yeah.
We'd load them back on the bus, head to Walmart, shop for an hour, and then take them back to their schools. And the stories that I have of that are just so heartwarming.
Do you want to give me one? Can you think of one?
So many.
Hard to pick one, I'm sure.
We had been doing this for a while, and I had a girl come into my classroom, and she said, Mrs. White, when are we going to sign up for our Bear Hugs for Kids? And I said, we usually start signing up in November. And she said, because I was one of those little kids that got to go shopping, so I want to be the first to sign up.
Oh.
And
as the high school,
as the shopping buddy. Yeah. And so we have seen that quite a bit because we've been doing it for so long, that those kids who were once taken shopping are now being the little buddy.
Sure.
We've had situations where little kids will buy stuff for their family and maybe just one little thing for them. Yeah. We've had high school students donate their own money to give them a little extra. Sure. We had one boy who he got to the checkout stand and he was over. And so we're like, they said, oh, you need to put something back. And he had clothes. He had some sweatpants and a shirt and some socks and something else, and then a remote control helicopter. And he grabbed the remote control helicopter and said, I guess I don't need this, and put it back. And luckily my daughter saw that. And so she came to me and told me, and I said, go get that helicopter. And we wrapped it up and took it to a school that Monday. And the office people called him down, and he was wearing the clothes that he just purchased.
Sure.
And he didn't know my daughters. And they had little Santa hats on. And they said, hey, we were at the Bear Hugs for Kids shopping, and Santa wants to give you this. And he had a look on his face, who are you?
What's going on here?
But then he opened it, and the first thing he said was, how did you know I wanted that?
Yeah.
And there's just so many. We had one little boy that was nervous, really nervous, and was shy and sad. He didn't really feel comfortable being around these high school kids. And one of my sports marketing kids just scooped him up, put him on his shoulder, and they were best buddies by the end of the hour shopping.
Wow.
It's just really neat to see how these high school kids step up.
Yeah.
And those little kids will never forget that.
Oh, no, they won't.
And neither will the high school kids. No.
I would agree.
Yeah. And a lot of them get to see what it's like to maybe be those kids who they wouldn't have had a Christmas otherwise.
Yeah. And you said that's still going on.
Yep. So COVID shut us down for a couple years. And then Dave Rutter from Costa Vida contacted me, and he said, hey, are we ever going to do that again? And I said, Dave, I don't have the Mascot Bowl anymore to raise the money.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'll find you the money. So ever since then, I think that was would have been 22.
So
I think it was 22.
3-4 years.
Ever since then, I've been able to find people who are willing to just give us money to do it.
Wow.
My best friend, my childhood friend, she said last year, hey, I'd be happy to help out. So I contacted her and said, hey, do you still want to participate? And she said, yeah, how much do you need? And I said, if you could just do 500, that would be great. Needless to say, she texted me and said, I'm going to do this much. And then she texted me back immediately after, no, I want to do this much. And then she texts me back immediately after, no, I want to do this much. No little kid should go without Christmas. And just melted my heart.
Sure. And so is this something you're still doing through the high school then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the nice part about having my son at Lehi and my daughter at Sky Ridge, because both schools participate.
Okay.
We hold the event at Lehi High School because it's a little bit easier logistically.
Sure, just centrally located?
Yeah.
Is that, okay.
But high school students from Sky Ridge and Lehi are allowed to participate to be the shopping buddies. Mm-hmm. And so I tell them, we always give them shirts. We all have shirts the same color. Everybody who participates get a shirt. This year it was green. And so I told them, some of us are orange in here and some of us are purple in here, but today we're all green.
Yeah.
And we're here to make memories,
mm-hmm.
to change lives, and to be one community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many kids on the high school end and helping, like what's the total number of people?
This year we took 170 kids shopping.
Wow.
And so that's almost 400. We had almost 400 high school kids show up.
Wow.
And there's probably 50 adult volunteers that helped me out. We had 12, I think it was 12 buses. So on a Saturday morning, when you hear, and the fire department is so great, they donate. They bring a ladder truck so Santa can ride on the ladder truck. The Jazz Bear's here because it's Bear Hug. He comes and he has his van and he comes and is in the procession, and there's 12 buses. And the police officers, they do rolling, I can't remember what it's called, where they stop traffic and let us all go through. So it's just, I think that's
just a very big deal out of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's as fun for the little kids on the buses as to be in this parade as anything, really.
Sure.
And I make one phone call and it's yes. Like the fire department, the police department have been so supportive. That's what I love about this community.
Yes.
They don't even ask questions. They just rise to the occasion to help.
Yeah.
So even though we've gotten huge, we still have that small town, I want to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because all these kids are Lehi kids.
Yep.
And so how do you identify the kids that need help then?
The elementary school.
Okay.
Help us with that.
So you just talk to all the local Lehi elementary schools?
Every elementary that feeds in either to Sky Ridge High School or Lehi High School is allowed to participate.
And then it's the administrators that identify the people, or teachers,
We send an email to the administrators. I think what they do is they send an email to their teachers and say, do you have any students who could benefit from this?
Okay.
Just let us know. And then they take those names, and because we give them a number. Because some areas have a greater need than other areas.
Sure.
And one school might...
Demographically, they're more wealthier.
Yeah, so one school might have 24 kids come. Another one might only have 6.
Sure, okay.
And then they give those lists to the Alpine Foundation, who helps me with all of this.
Okay.
Because now that we don't have Firemen and Friends for Kids as the charity, we go through Alpine Foundation.
Okay.
And so all the money is handled through the Alpine Foundation. And
so if somebody in the community is listening to this and saying, hey, that's something I would like, because this is around Christmas time?
Yes, we do it.
That you do it? Okay.
Yeah, the first Saturday in December.
In December, okay. So obviously that's a time of giving. A lot of times people aren't sure where to, hey, I want to help, but how do I help? I think that's when maybe they're in a richer ward, richer neighborhood, and so who do I help here? I don't know.
Yeah. So they could just contact the Alpine Foundation.
Okay.
And donate under Bear Hugs for Kids.
Okay.
And my goal, what I would love to see, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but every high school does something really cool.
Yeah.
I know that they have their own form of fundraiser helping out at Christmas time. But I know that there are some high schools in our district that they have a very big need for some help. And you could do the same thing at your own school.
Sure.
So in one form or another, there's plenty of businesses out there that are willing to help with something good like this if you just ask.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you'd like to see this not just in Lehi, but like
I had a teacher who he taught, I think at Eagle Crest Elementary, who lives in Orem High School boundary, and he talked to me about this, and I said, well, I don't want to do it,
yes,
but I'll train you.
I'm retired still.
If you want to come and watch and see what we do one year and then implement it, I think that would be great. Because honestly, the people who benefit the most from our Bear Hugs are the high school kids.
Yeah.
They get to have that satisfaction of, I really helped somebody. And I see a different side of Christmas than maybe what they're used to.
I do that part. That's because it's less about, a lot of times people want to solve problems to throw money at it.
Yeah.
And obviously things need money, but I like what you're talking about, because really you're trying to train this next generation to serve and to give and to think about other people. And especially children tend to be more selfish, because as you get older, that's when it's, okay, hey, there's other people. And so if you're trying to introduce that earlier, where, hey, no, think about others and let's help others and stuff. And
how happy that makes you.
Exactly. Yeah. And hey, maybe you should do this your whole life.
Yeah.
and in one form or another.
It gets in your blood. Once those years that we didn't do it because of COVID.
Yeah.
Like my family, this is a big deal for them. They love this. All of my kids help with our bear hugs. And those couple years that we didn't do it, it did feel a little empty.
Sure.
And I have the greatest team that helped me with my bear hugs. And I don't know, all of us say the same thing. Like, it's just not Christmas without it.
Yeah. Wow. Good job retiring. It sounds like you're continuing on and doing stuff. What's next for you? You're still young. You got lots of years ahead of you.
Right now, my new career is grandma babysitter.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Which is awesome. I don't have to, there's no dress code. And so I tend my grandkids 4 days a week.
Okay.
And I'm banking on the data that says if you hang out with your grandkids a lot, it keeps you young and keeps your mind sharp.
I like that.
So we'll see. We'll track the data.
Tell me in a couple of years and tell me if that's still the truth.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, that is the joy of my life.
Yeah, good. I can tell you really love children, and you love people, I would say. Obviously, you dedicated your whole life to educating people, and you didn't just get a paycheck. You really magnified that part of your job. I can tell you enjoy it.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope so.
And you've done a lot of good in the community, and you're still doing a lot of good in the community. So I think that's one of the best parts about Lehi is, like you said, the community. And the more I do this podcast, the more I'm like, wow, there's just so many good people here.
There are.
And that's what makes a community, is so many different people doing so many
You don't
different
have
things.
to look very far to find
really
people
don't.
who love this community and put in hours to make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look at the people every time. One of my family's favorite things is to go to the rodeo.
Yeah.
And I look at it like, oh, look at all of the volunteer hours and the work and and some people don't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
But they do it because they love this place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because none of these, there's a lot of hours spent, especially on that roundup week, doing all the different things they do and stuff. But I like hearing also, too, about the other things that are going, because maybe the roundup gets a lot of the attention because it is such a big, important week. But obviously, the things you're doing with the high school, and that's awesome. You're doing good things there.
Yeah, I think there is a lot. I'm sure there is a lot that's going on behind the scenes that we don't really even know about.
Kind of the point of this podcast.
Yeah,
Let's shed some light on some of that stuff.
Perfect,
Let's get it out there. Not that we don't have the huge following, but it gets out there. Becky, anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap up here?
Gosh, I don't think so. Not that I can really think of. But I appreciate you having me. It's been fun.
I've loved having you. I love what you're doing. And again, doing a lot of good. I love that some of these things are continuing on too. So hopefully once you retire from this,
then my kids can take over.
Then you can, okay, that would be great. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of good there. And I think that would be a lot of good to have that keep going. We'll need to make sure we get that succession plan in place for you.
Yeah, for sure.
But, okay. Thanks, Becky. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on Roots and Branches of Lehi. I hope today's story helped you feel a little more connected to the people who make up our community. Remember, every person here has a unique story, and together, we're what makes Lehi feel like home. If you know someone who would be a great fit for this podcast, please fill out the form in the show notes so we can reach out and schedule an interview. We'd love to hear from you. A big thank you to our sponsors, the Work Harding Home Mortgage Team and Play Harding Nightly Vacation Rentals, for supporting this show and helping us bring our community closer together. Until next time, keep growing those roots and reaching out to your branches. Take care.